Montage breakdown, talking about thoughts about every attack in the previous video. I'm doing a Skelly Donut to bring down a crossbow and CC. Now that I've dealt with the long range defense, I'm doing a flamethrower at the bottom and Sui towards the town hall. Do a little funnel on 3 o'clock. Guides the king and queen deeper into the base. Okay, so kill enemy queen and dealt with both of the scatter shot, then ending up with Lalo across the rest of the map. And that's it. Next, this one again, Skelly Donut, follow up with Sui, Lalo. Trigger the town hall with an extra earthquake spell, and I'm overreach with my invisible spell. A little bit jump the gun over here at the right scatter shot, but I still managed to take down the multi-inferno and CC. Okay, Sui at 9 o'clock and do a clockwise Lalo. The next clip has no royal champion, and the previous attack has no warden. Not enough reach to take down both multi-inferno and CC, so we choose other target. This time we're dealing with 2 crossbow and multi-inferno with Skelly Donut. So no long range defense at the bottom side, so definitely bringing flamethrower towards this base. And unfortunately I'm coming across Tesla farm and kind of screwed up my Sui entrance. So I was supposed to come across from 3 o'clock and I get baited, so I go the long way round and no one go directly towards the eagle. And since I have my dragon sent in to kill the enemy CC, and fortunately it was something like a ice golem, so wouldn't affect me. I was supposed to send my queen first, then I pulled a bunch of Tesla, so I swapped both my king and queen position. Yes, I did deploy my king for to take my queen's place, but my queen didn't set up the funnel like she's supposed to in time, so my king failed to step in. The next clip break down this base. The first time I come across this kind of space, and it's kind of unique, so I take more time to breaking down this attack. The most valuable defense is the center multi, so I taking down this multi alongside with a CC, creates a vacuum. If I come across Tesla farm right at the center, guarding the center multi-inferno, this could counter me hard, but that would defeat the whole purpose of isolating multi-inferno at the center. So after that, all the crossbow still intact, so no suitable deployment for my flame flinger. So I'm going for a direct Sui at the bottom. So single Inferno guarding the town hall, preventing Sui. So scratch that. We're doing Lalo across the town hall section. But according to the air sweeper direction, it's kind of tricky for our Lalo. So we either doing Warden invincibility across the town hall section with our Lalo group, or otherwise some better option. So we're going clockwise with our Lalo. You see these two hair sweeper that decides the Lalo pathing. Okay, we're going downwind along with the wind, but we either go in section from 11 o'clock or 2 o'clock. Depends on these two, which one of these options are better. The first one is better. Why is that? I'm going to explain to you. The first approach will deal with the windsweeper first, then going across town hall. But the second one, coming from 2 o'clock, still get knocked back from the side by the air sweeper. Getting out of the town hall blast zone while getting knocked back, deadly combination. So we choose the later option. Then I'm definitely gonna Sui the 9 o'clock in order to funnel for my Lalo. But I'm sensing a disaster if I'm Sui the section at 9 o'clock. But for now, I'm gonna set that aside and talk about why people start with Sui before any other thing. Before you dug out the center and send your main force on the final C-shaped course, you're doing a dissection. Does that sound familiar? That was the first video I've been talking about. Right before you send in your main force, we dug out a section. And this particular maneuver were always assigned to heroes because they were the most tenacious type of troops. And there is even better approach that take place in this maneuver. Flame flinger with 0 casualty in this maneuver. That is the key. The key is to stay on the field even though the hit point was hanging by a thread. Catching a breath and staying alive after the maneuver when the main force steps in and shields the heroes. If we switch places between heroes and your main force, what would happen? How much force would stay alive and walk out of this maneuver with not much spell investment or hero's ability? It's near impossible. Maybe you throwing in more than half of your main force and couldn't even do a better job than your sui. I'm not gonna talk about Root Rider. If your sui served as your main force, the first thing they will come across is all these barriers of wall, slowing them down and getting annihilated. So dealing with this type of section, a short burst, a small section of short burst, sui charge is the perfect approach. Don't worry about moving into other section, because the moment you decide to send your sui into this type of compartment, you're still dealing with the full length of the defense, even though you dug out the center of the base. So it's one of the toughest job, and after this in section, it will always meet up the value. And if you send in your main force after the in section, you might keep your sui alive, and that count as a bonus. I usually deploy Flame Flinger to help out my sui, but this time there will be no support from Flame Flinger. This is a genuine sui charge. If I don't dug up one section, the force will spread out thin. One thing to be sure is this base is not suitable for any Flame Flinger approach. That's what I think. So Sui is definitely up for this task. Or I can do a cheap blimp to take out one section, but that's just not desirable, because it costs you your siege machine and your reinforcement, but only take out 10%, 20%, no more than 15% worth of insection. But that is all better than straight up spamming. Back to the topic. One thing we're for sure is we're not using Flame Flinger, so we definitely assign our sui for one of the insection. Another thing we're for sure is Lalo is going across the town hall section, so we're taking out the deadliest defense towards Lalo and avoiding ground expo at the same time. We can pick either enemy queen or enemy royal champion position to deploy our sui charge. Alongside with enemy heroes are two of these scatter shot, high value. Multi-infernal, somewhat high value, but not as deadly as scattershot and enemy heroes. So either of these two sections, at the top and the bottom, we can take out one of each high value target, and we will not deploy our sui at 9 o'clock for ground expo and enemy barbarian king, because these are not the key defense towards Lalo. Now, the top section or the bottom section, which one has to do with my Lalos? Which one is closely related to my Lalo? for them to go clockwise. To separate them, we have to look closely to the wall structure. If I deploy them at the top, my Lalo has to insert from 3 o'clock. Besides, we're going upwind with our Lalo. Let's talk about why the bottom section is more of a desirable approach. In fact, two of these options are very similar. Both of them has a scatter shot guarded by an enemy hero and a crossbow. How do I choose? All these little details determine the follow-up outcome. So I simulate the outcome if I deploy my Sui at the top. To go through that gap, I have to break into the base deeper. So I breach the wall with wall breaker. But that might lead my heroes towards the multi and not going for the enemy queen and scatter shot like they supposed to, and deal with unnecessary damage inflicted by ground expo since we're playing Lalo. Now look at the bottom section. With no CC, I only have to deal with a crossbow. You might think these gaps might guide the Sui into wrong section, and the bottom section has even more severe situation that might lead the hero into wrong direction. But actually, the bottom section has easier task when it comes to funnel. The yellow cross indicates the funnel. There will be two funneling group at the top, but only one funnel group at the bottom to successfully guide my Sui group. What about the top section? What's the potential movement? I could walk out at 2 o'clock. After that, charged in with Lalo as follow-up. But then again, we're going upwind. Time to time again, not desirable. What about we going anti-clockwise rather than clockwise? Then we can grab the multi. Sounds good, right? But if you look closely, the wall structure is so strong, might cost you so many additional wall breaker, and slows you down, take out lots of time consuming. Even though you successfully breach the wall, they might still going other direction and wanders off. Then it turns into a disaster. The bottom section is also gives me headache. At the same time, there's the other Town Hall 14 with the same layout. I'm attacking it with my 14 account. The fact that is my Town Hall 13 attempt failed to deliver my king into the scatter shot. He's supposed to serve as a tank at the front. Follow up with Royal Champion. So I funnel at the Wizard Tower, then break the left flank to make sure my king go in deeper. So I assign my queen to this task. Since king's equipment has overshadowed queen's ability at this moment. If I were to send my queen into the scattershot department, it is twice as challenging as if I'm sending my king. She's more likely to wander off. And again, the value that you gain from king's equipment now is much higher. This is why I send my king into the scattershot department. My queen can still deliver long-range support on the outside, so I'm not worried about she's not going in. The reality is that I stood there and froze, delaying my deploy on my queen at the left flank. So my king failed to walk in the scattershot department, and the second attempt with my 14 town hall account did succeed to walk in the bottom section. On the downside is my siege weapon at the town hall 14 attempt was the wrong siege weapon. So two of these attempts has their own lesson. Now look at this bottom section. Why it has become the final determinant. One of the feature is, I think I've said it before, it's more of an open space, less wall structure. So you only have to worry about not sending your hero into the compartment and let them do the rest of the work. Compare it to the top section. A stronger wall structure. This is why I avoid sending them to this type of situation. To sum up, what other option we have? The top, the left, the bottom. The top one is not desirable. And the town hall section, we left it for Lalo. Do you ever wonder why don't I deploy my Sui to this type of section? The fact is, I will never deploy them to this type of situation. Here's why. Remember, the full length of defense. And you get to pick and choose which they might randomly select. They might go left, they might go right. The worst part is to have them split. Once they split, they dealing with 2 times of defense firing power laying upon. I'm only doing this kind of approach when there is a flame flinger to determine the direction of my Sui group, as you can see time to time again in my previous video. But this time, with no flame flinger in this attack, I have to pick and choose the weak link within the base. Now, I don't want them to go up against the single inferno. To prevent them to break right towards the town hall is to break the link between the single inferno and the crossbow at the bottom. Plus, notice the gap on the walls between the air defense and cannon at the bottom section. Once I break down this chain, this link, it'll safely guide them towards 7 o'clock. The link has already been weakened since I skellied the CC. What's left was 1 builder hut, and naturally they will go left. So use the natural surrounding wisely towards your favor, and you wouldn't have to put too much of work into it. Of course, there's potential hidden Tesla, then it will strengthen the link, and that might lead to a disaster. Okay, now the chain of defense is visible. You can visibly identify these strong links towards the left. So you can safely deploy your Sui, and naturally they will go with the flow. Fortunately, it served our plan. Our Lalo follows afterward, clockwise. We're still going to look through all options. If 9 o'clock was one of our options, what do we get? 1 crossbow, ground crossbow, and enemy king. And the wall structure prevents them from either going clockwise or anti-clockwise. It's some kind of a trap. Again, natural structure, natural surrounding. And both of these values are not tempting at all. Ground crossbow and king are burdens. It does not threatening any air troop. Then why we send our Sui into this section, risking additional burden? It has no benefit towards the following up Lalo group. Then it has dragged down the whole plan. The yellow circle indicates easier task for Lalo. The red circle indicates stronger defense towards Lalo. Scattershot, enemy king, air crossbow. So the conclusion is to dug out with Sui at the bottom. Afterward, Lalo throughout the rest of the map, ending up on top of the town hall, and most likely ran out of Warden's invincibility before town hall. So make sure to have enough balloon. It's gonna be brute force towards the town hall. 3/4 of the base was assigned to the main force, so it's huge. So we have to gather all the resource we can get and try to help out the main force. It's time to select the right siege machine. The attribute of the siege machine has to be airborne, and I'm not choosing blimp because I wanted to have fighting capability, so Stone Slammer comes in handy. Moving on to the next attempt. The way I break down this base is to, again, make the center vacuum, and I failed to take out Scattershot. That was pretty lame of me, and it was a rookie mistake. Anyhow, I noticed the weird thing about this base is it has no long range defense at the left, because it it has a weird placement for the crossbow. And make sure to breach the wall for your flame flinger, because it has it's serve no splash damage towards the first wall. Now I did a Sui at the bottom, and Lalo doing the cleanup, and Rendezvous on top of the town hall. The trick is to cover Sui with skeleton spell, because the formidable single inferno. Now this one crossbow have poor placement. I can counter it with good flame flinger value, either on the right or the left. Now I did made a mistake by placing the flame flinger too close to the archer tower, but all's well. Skelly Donut taken out, multi-infernal, CC, and one crossbow. Further strengthening the flame flinger's territory. And Sui at the bottom. Lalo start up strong with Warden's ability while taking down Town Hall. This approach has to be aware of the air sweeper. If my Sui did take out the air sweeper, I can start from the Town Hall. If not, I have to go the other way around. That's about it.